Hi, we are the presenters of Group 3. We're going to talk about the articles South Korea shows workplace gender discrimination is alive and kicking. The social problems related in gender equality is hot potatoes, and there are lots of arguments on the internet. So first, I will summarize the article briefly. The article says Seoul Metro has adjusted downward the interview scores of female applicants in 2016. Similar gender discrimination occurred at other corporations in Korea. And also, Tokyo Medical University negatively manipulated the scores of female applicants for more than a decade from 2006. These situations reflect a reality of not only the best-selling, but also women who are not given an entry-level job. So Korean women are taking actions like launching a campaign. The perceptions that men are naturally fit for public places and women for private areas makes women seem only suitable to assist men in the labor market, and it supports gender discrimination. To overcome the gender discrimination, efforts of society members are needed. And let's watch a video about the gender equality at work.
All around the world, women want to work and get paid for it, and the majority of men agree. But there's a gap between women's aspirations and the realities of the labor market. Women are less likely to participate in the labor market. They face lower chances of finding a job. They're paid less than men, more likely to be in involuntary part-time work, and they're subject to discrimination in the workplace. Traditional gender roles are slow to change. In every country, women do at least twice as much housework and care work at home than men, unpaid. When paid and unpaid work is combined, women work longer days than men. Around the world, women and men agree. Balancing work and family responsibilities, including lack of access to affordable care services, is the major challenge to women at work. The opportunity? Recognizing, rewarding, reducing and redistributing care work, and creating more decent care jobs for women and men. More than 1 of every 3 women worldwide has experienced physical or sexual violence. Violence against women does not only have physical, emotional, and psychological costs, it has a significant impact on national economies. Violence, harassment, and discrimination can prevent women from entering and staying in the job market, particularly in male-dominated fields. The global pay gap between men and women is estimated at 23%. In some countries, women earn just 60% of what men earn for an hour of the same work. Differences in education, experience, age, and career breaks cannot entirely explain why. The significant difference is discrimination against women, direct or indirect. The Women at Work Centenary and the Future of Work Centenary initiatives provide an opportunity not only to make the obstacles to decent work for women visible, but to also spell out the action needed to overcome them. The deliberate and bold choices we make will ensure a future of work with gender equality at its heart. Major pathways towards achieving gender equality and decent work include expanding the provision of accessible and high-quality care services and creating decent jobs in the care economy. Laws and mechanisms to ensure equal pay for work of equal value. And extend social protection coverage. Ending violence and harassment in the world of work. And macroeconomic policies that foster job-rich growth and address structural gender inequalities. This transformation is essential if we want to see gender equality at the heart of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda and make decent work for women and men a reality.
So after reading the article and watched this video, we talked a lot for this gender discrimination in workplace. We tried to sympathize with the woman who was sexually discriminated against in the article. And also we tried to think from a man's point of view. These are individual opinions that we discussed. It was hard to integrate opinions into one, but we all agreed on this content. There have been numerous media reports that say women are discriminated against in job recruitment and limited in the promotion. As in the article, it is obviously unreasonable to manipulate women's scores and hire only men. But we wondered if we could criticize employers for recognizing women as potential mothers. In reality, there is a gap between men's and women's ability to work, because many women quit their jobs or take years off from work due to childcare. Because this is directly related to the financial part of the company. It is natural for employers to hire efficient and productive workers. In fact, we should view this with a different perspective. It can be discriminatory against men as well as women. Not all women want childcare, and not all men want to work. Some women may prefer work to childcare. Otherwise, some men prefer childcare to work. It will be efficient for everyone to do what they want and do better. Although many of these gender equality controversies are spreading through various media, a wave of change is taking place in our society. The more we do, the more we can create a fair society through social efforts such as not being deceived by provocative news articles that promote gender conflict, recognizing gender differences, changing individual gender perceptions, and further changing corporate customs to enact relevant laws.
From now on, I will talk about the result of our critical reading. First, the writer is Jue Kim, who is a research associate professor in the Critical Global Studies Institute at Sogang University in Korea. She even writes some books associated with feminism. The purpose of this article is to inform the reality of workplace gender discriminations and also to suggest a necessity of social members' efforts to prevent discriminations. We think that this article is reliable because it gives us many facts about gender discrimination, so it is enough to persuade us. Also, this article was written recently within 2 years. Next, the author's view is that there are workplace gender discriminations obviously and should be efforts of social members to prevent discriminations. We think about the writer's possible bias that she may have experienced workplace gender discriminations in somehow direct or indirect ways, or she is very actively interested in feminism. We divided possible actions as three parts. We had a lot of ideas about gender discrimination, so we organized them into three aspects: individual aspect, society aspect, and national aspect. First, in individual aspect, the most important thing is not having prejudice about job role. We should not share household chores by gender. Also, we should accept critically when watching media, not passively watching. Second, in society aspect, we think that the role of mass media is important. They have to stop producing distorted images of women and make positive use of strong influencer power. They should try to spread awareness of gender equality through the mass media. Also, institutional supplementation should be improved. It is important to remove inequality practices in the workplace and eliminating discrimination in the organizational culture. For example, uniform should be genderless. Uniform represents gender and position and makes women as officer mascot. Also, social enterprises should try to cut off discriminatory employment. Both men and women should be given equal parental leave to eliminate prejudice that working women are potential maternity leavers. Last, in national aspect, blind recruitment should be expanded. Blind recruitment is based solely on job skills, except for factors that may cause unreasonable discrimination. Although the bill was passed by the National Assembly in 2017, blind recruitment methods are still limited to public corporations and public institutions. Still, many private companies use ordinary hiring methods or their own. Therefore, the National Assembly should pass a bill that would allow private companies to make blind recruitment mandatory, eliminating gender-based irrationalities. All of these factors should be hidden, and applicants should be evaluated solely by ability. Also, employment process should be changed more fairly. For example, it is possible to eliminate gender check in the resume or disclosing transparently the hiring and promotion process. In the hiring process, the company is required to disclose all information related to recruitment on its website to see if the scores were cut or whether there was any intentional manipulation of the recruitment because they were women. In terms of promotion, the promotion should be based on ability so that the promotion process can be disclosed to people whether the promotion was centered on performance and ability. Finally, the government should create a system that allows anonymous reporting of sex discrimination. The system should immediately take actions against perpetrators. If the interviewee is forced to answer private questions such as childbirth or marriage plans, the interviewee could immediately report them to the agency, and the agency itself should be able to take immediate action against the perpetrator. Also, the government should develop a system that causes perpetrators who ask private questions to have difficulty in the promotion. The interviewee's gender should not be ability at the interview. To sum up, all people should try to eliminate and change the gender discrimination personally, socially, and nationally. The most important thing is not making a law to ban discrimination. It is change our awareness about the gender discrimination and feel naturally uncomfortable to it. Is there some problems and possible actions that we thought? We discussed about the possible actions. First, a lot of companies are adopting blind recruitment for fairness. However, paradoxically, there is a doubt that it is vulnerable to selection absurdity because standards of evaluation and recruitment are subjective and ambiguous. Second, although parental leave can be a means to solve gender equality in the company, the current job market is very realistic. A pregnant worker applied for paternity leave, wary of his boss. However, her boss was annoyed that she couldn't hire a replacement. The same is true of men. I can use parental leave, but when I come back my desk will be gone, said office worker B. I like to take paternity leave with the responsibility of taking care of babies instead of my wife, but the reality is that I can't. Except for a few government officials and companies, parental leave is not easy to use. Third, there are already anonymous organizations that report interviewers who ask personal questions, but the rate of reporting is very low. The reason is that it is not only unclear whether anonymity will be properly saved, but also that people are afraid of retaliation. Also, no immediate actions can be taken by the reporting agency. Then, how could these problems be solved? First, in order to solve the problems about parental leave, awareness needs to be improved, but above all, the government needs to take compulsory measures. If the low birth rate and aging population become serious, the most urgent solution is to improve parental leave. Therefore, more powerful policies are needed, such as penalizing them if companies do not comply with the parental leave rules or increase the ratio of the parental leave. Second, it is necessary to promote that there is an agency that reports unreasonable things that occur in interviews, and to give rise to conduct its own investigation and processing to the agency. We will finish our presentation as watching the video related to our situation.
정부가 직장 내 성차별을 뿌리 뽑기 위해서 온라인 익명신고센터를 지난해부터 운영을 하고 있는데요. 4개월 만에 100건이 넘는 성차별 사례들이 접수됐습니다. 최유찬 기자입니다.
고용노동부는 지난해 9월부터 고용상 성차별 익명신고센터를 운영한 결과 4개월 만에 모두 122건이 접수됐다고 밝혔습니다. 차별 유형은 모집과 채용상의 성차별 신고가 63건으로 가장 많았고 교육 배치와 승진, 남성에 비해 적은 임금 등의 순이었습니다. 특히 결혼과 출산을 이유로 여성 채용을 기피한 사례가 많았습니다. 면접에 응시한 여성 지원자에게 결혼과 임신 계획에 관해 묻거나 출산 휴가나 육아휴직을 쓰고 퇴사하는 직원에 대해 어떻게 생각하느냐 등을 묻는 식입니다. 또 채용 과정에서 여성은 뽑을 수 없다고 하거나 자격 요건 우대 사항에 남자를 명시한 곳도 성차별 신고 대상이 됐습니다. 한 사업주는 이미 고용된 여성 직원의 결혼 사실을 뒤늦게 알게 되자 당초 기혼자는 고용할 생각이 없었다며 퇴사를 권유하게 됐습니다. 고용노동부는 신고가 접수된 사업장에 대해 행정지도 53건과 진정 5건, 근로감독 3건 등의 조치를 취하고 나머지 16건에 대해서는 처리를 진행 중이라고 밝혔습니다. 노동부는 고용상 성차별을 뿌리 뽑기 위해서는 피해 사실의 적극적인 제보가 필요하다며 노동부 홈페이지를 통한 적극적인 신고를 당부했습니다. MBC 뉴스 최유찬입니다.
Thank you for listening our speech.